Hello everybody, welcome to Red Tool House. In today's video, we're going to get ready for some piglets that are coming to the farm. We're excited to have pigs back here at Red Tool House, so let's get after it. So if you follow the channel at all, you know that we retired our breed stock back in January. So from January, mid-January until now, we've had 0 pigs on the property. It's been weird. First time in 12 years we didn't have any pigs. But we are getting pigs soon. We're going to get 6 weaned piglets from Rivercomb Farms over in Virginia, and these are going to be Berkshire Blue Butt mix. So here's some pictures of them, and excited to go get those piglets from Mindy and her team over there at Rivercomb Farm. But before the pigs show up, of course, we got to have a place to put them. And the first thing I do with any piglets, of course, is get them trained to electricity. So we're going to construct a temporary training paddock right here in this location. And that will be a rigid fence with some electric on the inside so that they can get trained to the electric fence before we turn them loose into our north pasture. So I invite you guys to come with me and we'll get this set up and I'll explain why we do, what we do, and how we do it and the reasons behind it. Okay. So this location here is the spot of our old greenhouse, high tunnel, whatever you want to call it, that we had for a while. Sometimes the pigs would hang out in it, the chickens would hang out in it. We did some, I don't know if we ever planted anything in it or not, but it served its purpose. But this is a nice little flat area we have, very limited on flat. And it's in front of the workshop barn. It's here in the main area. We've got our stream here. Not to mention we already have some permanent electric fencing that's set up that includes this portion of our northern pasture. I'll show you here on the map, which you can see what I'm talking about. So we're going to put this training paddock here so that once we're done, we can just simply open up a gate and release the little devils into this area where they'll then have access to the hillside and this portion of the paddock. And then we'll be able to move them into the next section once it's time for them to get out of this area. So this little depression, this little trough I'm in, is actually the alleyway to get to that pasture. So before, when we had the greenhouse, the pigs, the red wattles, could just come out and go straight in here and bang, they're in the pasture. So that's what we're going to do. We're just going to clean this up and utilize this again. And we'll set a gate right here on this corner so they'll be able to open the gate and allow the piglets to just come out when it's time, after they've been trained, to come out. So we're not reinventing the wheel, having to build multiple things. But I want this to be temporary, simply with the fact that flat ground's the premium here, and I only need a training paddock for just a couple weeks, so I want to be able to tear it down easily. So the only thing we're going to put in permanently, I believe, is I'm going to set, I think I want to set a phone pole right here. Hard mount that so that we can set it deep in the ground so it'll be rigid on its own, and then I'll put a gate. I've got some gates that we have that I've built that we've used in the past, just over there in storage. We'll attach the gate there so I have an easy way to get in, tend them, of course, and then also when it's time to release them, to do so. The rest of the fencing, the training paddock, will all just be hog panels, and that'll give us nice rigidity to keep the piglets from getting out, but also be temporary that we can tear it down. Super simple. So we're going to do things kind of backwards. We're going to start with our gate post first and then use our hog panels to come up with the shape based upon the number of hog panels we have. So I want to take a second and give a shout out to this week's video sponsor, and that's Avapal. And this is the second unit they've sent me in their car care kit. And I've been using, their first one was a jump starter, which I featured on the channel. And this is a tire inflator. And I like the compactness of this tire inflator. And you may think, okay, something that big, that ain't going to handle tires very well. But you'd be surprised. We're going to show you here in a second, because my mulch hauling trailer, its tire is completely flat. It's got a slow leak in it. So we're going to fill that up with this. But I was using it on the red trailer, the utility trailer, the other day. And we're going to put it on the road, be hauling a lot of material. So I want to make sure I have the proper air pressure. And the neat thing about this is you can set it and forget it. So you can set it at the proper air pressure that you want, dial that in and kick it off, walk off. And the thing will shut off when it reaches that specific pressure that you've set. And of course this is battery chargeable, so it doesn't have to be plugged into a cigarette lighter adapter. It doesn't have to be plugged into an 110 outlet. You can obviously just carry it around. So it's handy to have in the truck. Keep it there under my seat with the rest of my kit. So this tire is just a little bit flat. By a little bit, I mean pancake flat. So I've got it set for 36 PSI. I have 3 or 4 bars of power. So let's just see what she does. So there we are at 36 PSI, which usually don't run that much on this trailer, but I just wanted to show that it could get us there. And still have half the battery life left. The unit also offers some presets, so you can have multiple presets set, and it has a little icon here. So we've got motorcycle at 35 PSI, bicycle at 45 PSI, basketball at 8, and then another preset at 3, and of course back to our automobile. And then it also, if you're doing all this in the dark, it has a flashlight mode. So you can turn on the flashlight there. And then there's the battery port for charging. So the kit comes complete with this case, of course the unit, the air hose, and adapter pieces for different types of attachments. So you've got, of course, your athletic ball nozzle and a couple other volume nozzles, like if you're going to be filling up small inflatables, that type of thing. You've got your power cord and your owner's manual, and the handy dandy little case, which is rigid, fits great underneath the seat of the truck. So it's a great little backup. The neat thing about this too is with the charging cable it has, it's not just a 110, it's a USB. So it's a Type-C charging cable. So the cool thing about that, of course, is you can plug that into most cars' accessories and charge it while you're going down the road in case you've neglected to charge it back up, like I probably will. Then I can plug it in the truck as I'm going down the road and it'll be charged up. So I'll put a link below in the description so you can check it out. All right, let's get back to our project. So here's the first dilemma, is what orientation of the swing for the gate should be. Ideally, if I'm going to release the wee devils into the pasture, then when you'd want it to hinges on this side, the gate swing that way so I can get them pointed in the right direction. That means a permanent pole sits out here further in my clearing than I'd like because, again, this is going to be temporary. Swinging this way, of course, when I go tend them, you normally don't want a gate to swing out if you're trying to keep animals inside a certain thing because they can bolt. Whereas if you swing in, then of course you're able to articulate around and keep them from going out. Or vice versa. I have to replace some boards on this thing. It's gotten a little rotted. We set it here and swing it in. Then I can maybe take just another cattle panel temporarily and make that a bow there from this post. So it'll have my phone pole set over here, less in the way, but permanent set. Gate can swing in. I think that's what I want to do. Those are funky. I may have to replace those boards. Just remember where that gas line is. Just kidding. All right, so there's our gate set. And I have 16-foot hog panels, and then I have 8-foot hog panels. So what I'm going to do is determine the width, how close I go to the road and to my elderberry tree, based upon the number of hog panels, just how that lines out. I don't think 16 foot's going to work here, so I may put 8 and then overlap another 8 to get me kind of close to the corner, and then we'll go, I think we'll go 2 16s that way. So it'll be 4 16s, and then whatever I can double up. I got another 16 up at the house. So we'll set posts. All right, so before I set this last corner post and the back wall here, which is this 16-footer, I want to bring in the porta hut. We're going to use the hut that I've had forever, and I've had it up in further up in the woods, up in a little storage area. So I got it cleaned up the other day, and I'll move it down here, get it set. So I'll move that, of course, before I put the wall in. That way I don't have to figure out a way to lift it up and over. So we'll grab that, and then purposely didn't set this back corner because I know I'm not square. So we'll set this fence back wall up here, line it up, and then we'll see where we need to set that post. That way I don't have to, if I'm 16 feet and a couple inches longer, then that becomes an issue. So obviously you can use that to make up my inconsistencies. Now, if I was smart, I would have put this on the other side of the paddock when I dropped it off of the tractor. Let's see how we need to move this. I can't remember how heavy this thing is. Look, kids, Mr. Porta Hut. Where am I going? Things I do for you people, you realize I had to set this down and crawl out of it to change the camera angle. There's also a wasp in here with me, eyeballing me. What we'll do is we'll make this entrance north facing. We'll put that about right here. Can't get out of it. Now I know somebody's going to ask in the comments, hey Troy, where'd you get that? Who's the manufacturer of that? Well, I bought it off a farm in Greenbrier County many, many years ago. I haven't the slightest idea who makes it. There's not a name on it. It's held up really well to be laying around in the woods for the last, I've easily had this thing 10 years probably. So I don't know who makes it. I know it's technically not called a Porta Hut. That's another brand for the corrugated half circle ones. So I don't even know what you call that thing. It's like a glorified doghouse. I know you guys are looking down that fence line and thinking Otis the town drunk must have helped me today. Maybe so. So with this extra 8-footer I have, when the time comes to loose them onto the hillside, then we'll just do something like that. We'll configure it. Just put a bend in it and lock it in, and that way they'll be able to walk out once they are trained and aware of electric fence. Okay, so now the part that really gets them trained, of course, is setting up the electric fence. So we're going to go inside the fixed panel, and we're going to put in a strand of electric low so they can, of course, come in contact with that. So I'm making up some what I call Troy posts. I've done videos about this using 1/2-inch conduit, these Dare pin lock insulators, and then of course some self-tapping screws. And they're about the cheapest way I can make a fence post. Of course, last a lot longer than the step-in fiberglass posts. And if Joe McKenzie's watching, I think he does, I see his comments every once in a while. Joe, I'm still using your box of self-tapping screws you sent me April of 2020. So it's almost 5 years exactly, and I probably have 30 self-tappers left from that box that you sent me. So I have used those, and those have been great. Thank you very much for that. Make up one more here, and I think we'll be ready to put these in place. I had some 1/2-inch conduit pieces that I cut to make my Troy posts, and I had some extra waste that was from the arch from the old greenhouse I used to set here, so that's why it's got the crimp in it. I thought, well, let's just make these into stakes, and we'll stake this pig house down a little bit better. And that way they won't, if they're getting rowdy, they won't push it into the fence or cause issues there. You have to set this one in a different spot. She's a little loose. It's gonna be so close. Waste not, want not, right? Yeah, cheapskate. Look at that, a whole, what do we have left there? About 30 inches. Yeah, you know. And then what we'll actually do, and I'll take care of that later, we'll take this, the main fence line, the trunk line is just over there, about 38 inches away. So we'll splice into that, and that's how we'll electrify this. So now, once we get all this tied together, I mean, get that into the jumper, get a jumper over to the main backbone, plug the Energizer in there at the brooder, then this will be hot. This will be really hot because that's a very big Energizer. And we've got this wire set now about snout to ear height, eyebrow height maybe, is what we're shooting for. I can adjust that when the pigs get here if they're taller than I thought, all that kind of thing. The idea is we want to train these animals to electric fence. The instinct of a pig when it hits something like electric fence or it gets spooked, its instinct, of course, is to run forward. So what we want to do is we want to get these pigs to learn. Pigs are very smart. They'll learn if they hit this and run forward, then they're going to bounce off the fence and come back and get hit again. So it's one of those things, the rigid fence behind this serves as a backstop. So it trains the pigs to then, when they get hit, to turn left, right, or back up. So this idea of the electricity becomes a psychological barrier for them, and they get near it, and they can sense that electricity without even touching it. So once they realize, okay, this is no bueno, this isn't a pleasant feeling, when I get close to it, I want to stay away, or if I do hit it, I want to get away from it and back up, that type of situation. So they'll hang out in here for a couple weeks. They'll get acclimated to the electric fence, get acclimated to our farm, of course, and then we'll be able to let them onto this northern pasture, this hillside, this really steep woodlot pasture, and which is, of course, surrounded by electric fence. So that should keep them retained. That's the idea. So for basic amenities, food and water, of course, we'll just use, I've got several 4-bin feeders. So I'll set that up once we get them here. Let them have access to that. For water, probably just, since we're just gonna be here a couple weeks, probably just use bowls, and I'll pump directly from the creek beside us. Use my little electric lift pump and a generator, a little solar generator. And that way if they want to get rowdy, splash around, do all that kind of stuff, they can. No big deal, because I can keep filling that up. He's a little damp. So if you're watching this video the day it came out, this next weekend is when I'll go get the pigs. So I don't know if that'll make it the following Sunday's video, just depends how long it takes me to get back to Virginia, from Virginia to West Virginia, and how much editing I can get done that night. So if not, we'll definitely have a video next week. It may not be the pigs. We'll just see how it goes. But really excited to have pigs back on the farm. It just doesn't seem like Red Tool House without pigs. So hope you guys feel the same way. Hope you stick with us as we just document the growth of these pigs over the life cycle, the next 6 to 8 months. Appreciate everybody watching. Pray you have a great week. Take care.